You're listening to Studio 57 Radio, your home for underground hip-hop, rap, and R&B. Studio 57 Radio.
Welcome back, Rebels. Here we go again. Oh man, let the countdown begin as two episodes left in this season. Our season finale, ironically, will be episode 657, and that was not planned, but we'll have fun with that next week. Yeah, right now it's all about this week. And boy, is it a tale of one day to the next. NBA, NHL to get into, golf. Yes, we will probably murder some more golf talk. Believe it or not. Holy crap, what is wrong with this world? It is upside down. We'll have fun with it. I hope you do too, as DSR2 gets into this thing. So, without further ado, let's do the do that we do at DSR2. I am Scrappy, and here is your host, Johnny the Moose.
Hey, we're back here for another edition of DSR2. As we said, it is the penultimate show today on here. Next week will be our season finale on there, and then we'll take our summer break and come back for our midsummer classics on there. So again, and it is really a hot, steamy day here in the D on there with the heat index. I think we hit like 107 is our heat index or something like that today.
It is gnarly. Thank God the studio is
air conditioned.
Yeah,
in the palatial nice. DSR2 studios.
It is so nice down here in the studios. It's comfy. I almost get a chill every once in a while because I've been so used to the hot. It's been that effing hot. And it's really not that cold down here, but it's comfortable.
Yes.
But it's so hot out there that when you get into like 75 degrees, like goose pimples hit you for a hot second. You're like, woo, it's kind of chilly in here for a second. And then, so yes, a very hot, kind of balmy day here. And we kind of always talk about the weather. So like a little bit in the intro, like we remark to it a lot. So it's kind of ADD here when it comes to that because, you know, how many times has it been rainy or balmy or this or that? And
snow, freezing and cold.
Yeah,
and
we hit every gamut of weather available, and then we go to lunch. And that's just basically life in Michigan. So
yeah.
Tomorrow it'll still be hot, but then by the weekend it'll be manageable.
It'll be perfect.
And then you'll find out like in the middle of next week, we'll have a day it'll be like 50. You'll be like, what the happened here? And then it'll shoot back up to 100.
Mexico City had snow a couple days ago.
That's what I'm saying. So I can relate to them. We've had weird years like that.
Yeah, and of course they're like 7,500 feet above sea level or something like that. So that's why. But yeah, we got lots of tier to talk about. As we said, the Stanley Cup Finals start tonight. We got the Tampa Bay Lightning, the team that just won't die, versus the Colorado Avalanche on there.
And, you know, I'm going to tell you something. The Lightning have every excuse to have given up at this point.
Yes.
And
they've won 2 in a row, and they're like, whatever. And they're like, nope.
Well, they have these.
They were down 2-0 against the Rangers. All of a sudden they're like, oh, the Rangers are like, oh, and all of a sudden they're like, here, hold my beer.
That couldn't have happened to a better effing fan base. I mean, screw the Ranger fans, dude. You guys are a bunch of douches.
Especially the one that punched out the Lightning fan. Did you see that video?
Yeah, out cold, baby.
Yeah, he got arrested and banned from MSG for life.
And all their affiliated buildings. So yeah, you have to understand when you get kicked out of MSG, anything else they own is the same. You're not allowed there either. So like MSG owns a lot of buildings in the area, a lot of entertainment complexes. So if you're in the New York area and you get banned from MSG, it's not just them. It's all their little. So like your favorite band comes to the local theater or whatever, you better watch it because that could be an MSG owned situation and your dumbass can't go.
Right.
So that's like my buddy who's not allowed in casinos. And he thinks just because he's not in Vegas, it's okay to walk into a casino. And he walked into Greektown here and didn't make it through the 3 feet in the front door. And he was met by security personnel. And we were all fucking removed.
Damn it.
And it's like, okay. So, like, that's how that works. But it's the same kind of concept where, you know, anything they're affiliated with, you are booted from. So that's... Like, he's lucky the dude doesn't press charges. I mean, he wasn't doing anything. He got sucker punched. That was the definition of a sucker punch.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you were to look up sucker punch in the dictionary,
There'd be a picture of that.
That would, yeah.
Yeah, because all the guy was trash talking. It's like, rightfully so. Dude, you basically were up 2-0 and you've collapsed the next 4. And this was like after what, game 6 or whatever, or game 5 when Tampa goes up 3-2, and all of a sudden he's just trash talking. It's like, boom.
Yeah.
And even most of the fans like, what the fuck? Dude?
Yeah, what's your deal?
Dude, really?
Well, and that's the thing with fandom, and we've seen the worst of fandom, it feels like, in recent years. Really, since we've returned from COVID, fans have been an embarrassment.
People have been an embarrassment.
Yes, I'm trying to be nice. I'm talking about fans in fan situations. Like, you know, we've all seen that fans do disgusting things to each other in the crowds, and even at at the athletes prior. You know, a lot of jaw jacking and stuff like that. But it just feels like post COVID, it's just so much worse, man. Like, you know, effing with family members of players that are there watching the game, like. Just low to no class, like behavior, and it's like, you know, I know it, and say you know you can miss me with that Malice at the Palace bullshit because I get you. It only takes one clown to f up the whole thing, and for us to be even talking about it, whatever. I'm not. You can miss me with that BS because we were pretty staunch about it here. The dude that came on the floor and got knocked the F out got what he deserved.
Right.
The dude that threw the stupid cup
got what he deserved.
But, you know, cooler heads need to prevail in the situation. And so when we broke that down, it was a different critique. We weren't talking about fandom behavior as much as we were talking about the interaction between the line between fans and athletes, you know,
right.
And how that line was crossed by both sides.
Oh yeah.
And so, and so, yeah, it is what it is. But that's the kind of crap that seems to be happening, not on a scale where it's like on TV during the game and the players are involved, but the players are like, doing what we said, you know, like, hey, you got to be above it no matter what. Like, I know it sucks and it's bullshit. You shouldn't have to, but you really have. You do.
Right.
You do. Like, I don't agree with it. It's 100% wrong the way fans treat players and the shit they say and do. And at some point, I'm telling you, I'd be a hypocrite in this situation if I was a player because I'd F people up, dude. I would F people up. I'd make Ron look like an effing choir boy.
You'd be like, what was it from the hockey fights on there? There was a one brawl. I mean, this is basically even more so than Malice at the Palace. This was back in 1979. I remember seeing in the news. I was, during Christmas break, and all of a sudden the Rangers were playing the Bruins at Madison Square Garden. Mm-hmm. Bruins win. All of a sudden, the ring on there, and there's a little scuffle, whatever. And all of a sudden, a fan reaches over the glass. And at that time, the glass was, not as high.
Yeah.
Reaches over there and punches a Bruin. Bruins had enough of that.
Oh yeah.
They pulled that glass down with their hockey sticks and went into the stands. And one guy the guy that punched, actually no, a fan used a shoe and threw it at one of the Bruins. And it was, believe it or not, Mike Milbury. His shoe chased the guy up the stairs at the MSG. Tackles him, takes that shoe, and starts beating him with his own shoe. With it, Bruin players are suspended. Milbury was suspended. Fans were thrown out, arrested. But it was like one of those. Fan reached over, and it's like, dude, of all sport, do not basically throw a punch at a hockey player.
Yeah, no, yeah.
They're not do with that crap.
They're not soccer players.
No, they're not going to go. Oh!
They're not going to look like they got shot out of a cannon.
They can take a bullet to the face. They'll go, stitch me up. I need to get back out on the ice.
Exactly. Right, they will die, get defibrillated, and want to play.
Yes,
I mean,
get me back out. I got to get out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the mentality and it's just different. So yeah, that's why I could never, like I said, I'm a hypocrite in this situation. I would lose my effing mind, the stuff that people say, and I'm going to give it to the players, the current crop of players you're seeing, especially in the NBA where you can really hear it and they're really on you and face to face and making eye contact and that's pretty personal when you're starting to do that. You're not booing the team and calling me a bum because I'm not performing well or whatever. No, dude, you're looking me in the eye and you're motherfucking me and you're throwing shit and you're spitting and you're using racial slurs and nah. And so, I would be in prison. That's how mad. Crazy I would
perfect
get.
example.
But these cats don't. They've been doing good. And
a perfect example is this NBA Finals.
Right.
I mean, the Celtic fans.
Oh yeah.
MF and Draymond, F and Draymond's wife, MF and Draymond's kid. It's like,
well, that's too far. But MF and Draymond is fully in play. Yeah. I mean, Draymond is he brings that on himself.
Yeah, but they're MF and every player on that Golden State.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fandom. But family, no. That shit's off limits. You're going over the line. It's the same thing when you start throwing racial slurs. If I'm looking at you face to face and dropping N-bombs at you, dude, I need to be evacuated from the building and hung from somewhere because you are you're subhuman at this point. I don't know where you come from where you think throwing racial slurs or homophobic slurs or anything like that out there, dude. You are devolved from the rest of us human beings if that's where you go. If the only thing you have to quote unquote, give these guys a hard time with is, stuff like that. I question your intelligence level, and your ability to be able to handle doing things like this, be it a heckler and all in good fun.
Yeah, you can heckling on there.
I just question your intelligence level and your ability to be able to do that stuff. So no, it's not funny. It's uncalled for, and the fact that these players put up with what they do is quite amazing. And like I said, I got to give it to these NBA guys especially. So the MLB guys every once in a while have to deal with that stuff because you got guys that close in the outfield and so whatever, the dugout maybe.
Especially if you're at home, if you're at bat and on deck circle, they're there right on top of you most years on there.
And in hockey, you can kind of scream over the boards or whatever and stuff like that. But I mean, basketball, they're effing on the floor with you pretty much. You know what I'm saying? And they can look you right in the face and stand over you and reach out and touch you. Shit, dude. A dude that just looked like Klay Thompson got on the court for warm-ups.
Yeah.
He was just a doppelganger who came to the game. He bought courtside seats. He bought an authentic Klay Thompson jersey. And people were even joking in the concourse with him that he looked so much like Klay Thompson, they wanted to get their picture taken with him. And then the dude got by security, got on the floor for shoot-around during the effing finals.
Well, it was in the playoffs. Remember they had one person that dressed up as a referee and tried to storm down there?
I mean...
And that was it. On there was a protester on there was dressed as a referee and tried on there. But there was security why is that person dressed like that? And then there was a female dressed on there. There's a female security, and she's just looking at her like eyeballing her, like, that ain't right, man. Something's gonna happen. I'm gonna wait. And she waited, and that girl just jumped jumped over the road.
Oh yeah, and she got nailed right away.
She got tackled. And boom!
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
damn.
I've seen that.
Kudos to that security. She was on top of like, nah, I got you. I'm watching. You ain't getting anywhere. Yep. Oh, make it move. Boom.
Oh, that's too funny.
And then goes over the weekend. Was it? I believe one of the golf tournaments on there. A fan got nailed right in the head. Classic too. I mean, air drive. Also, the guy's yelling "4," just waving on there, and that ball comes in there, and the guy's like, "Oh, all of a sudden, boom!" And then he goes, "Whoa!" right out. It was like classic.
Oh man, so it's just
Which will be fun this weekend because you got all those guys coming in the U.S. Open, and the ones that didn't leave are like, nah, we ain't happy. That ain't it.
well, and we'll get into the whole live tournament stuff in a little bit, but that's gonna be interesting, I think, as it gets more and more like, I don't know, dirty. I think it's gonna get dirty, to be honest, but we'll talk about that.
Oh yeah. Well, I got a feeling there's gonna be some words spoke by some of these players, especially to some of these guys out there.
Well, you've already had cats from PGA coming out now and starting to like speak, like the dude from what is he like the CEO of the PGA or who the fuck he was. I know who the fuck he was. This guy's, as far as I know, this guy's never made any public statements on any mass media, anything in the history of ever. And I'm like, who the fuck? The PGA? I didn't even know they had one.
Right.
Let alone that this is
you
the guy.
never hear anything from this.
Yeah, this dude's coming out and speaking on it. It's like, dude.
And like, John Rahm's coming out, who's a player in the world. He's come out and spoken. A lot of these players are like, no, we're not happy about these guys coming. You left, and now you're coming into the U.S. Open? Oh,
right.
Hell no.
I like Rahm's response. Sure, I get $400 million would be great, but it's not going to change my life. I've made so much money in golf that I could retire right now and live good.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
He's like, I'm thinking about legacy, and I'm thinking about all that. And like, there's no legacy in the live tour. The PGA has got the legacy.
Yeah. Tiger Woods is now a billionaire.
All right.
Official.
Right.
And he, when he came out, he goes, of my $1 billion, only about 10% came from the winning the tournaments.
Right.
It's all on endorsements. You ain't getting any endorsements in the LIV tour.
No, see, the live tour is going to be a huge mess. Is that Matt fucking Hughes? Dude, he can barely walk. What are you doing? I can't believe that dude's even alive, and you're going to have him walking around? He went through a bunch of shit, man. Yeah, look at him. He can't even get in the fucking ring. Matt Hughes was a bad dude, MMA back in the day, but he had he was in the hospital. Something major happened to him, and I'm surprised you can see he doesn't move like he should for a multi-time UFC champion. It almost doesn't look like he even knows what the fuck's going on. I mean, I know he's probably, and he got two washed up guys because Tyrone Woodley, he's got knocked out by a YouTuber twice. Oh, cool. Okay, they fed him to Wardlow, and they're going to be good guys, so no one's getting slammed. And Hughes is just happy to be able to stand there with his hands in his lap there. So, man, yeah, he looks. I mean, I'm glad to see he's moving around, but yeah, look at him. See how he walks? He's got something wrong with him. I can't remember what it was. I'd have to look it up. I don't know if it's like Parkinson's or.
Yeah, he's taking some.
He's got something going on. I can't remember what it was, and he was in the hospital for a while, and he went through a bunch of stuff, and if I remember correctly, and I was like, oh man, wasn't he not supposed to be even ticking anymore? See him on I mean, that's cool if he gets a payday, but man, rough to see that. Yeah, and that's the thing, we've done multiple shows on what happens to some of these athletes, in their sport. And, when you see him doing the Muhammad Ali walk, remember when Muhammad Ali first was like, doing that before he ended up in the chair kind of thing?
Well, yeah, I mean, him lighting the torch for the cauldron for the 96 Olympics.
What am I thinking? Yeah, I mean, that was...
He was a...
Yeah, because, I mean, Muhammad was it my whole life because and so that was like just a little after high school for me when that happened. And it's like, so yeah, my whole life he was, the guy.
Yeah, I remember in his prime, not in the prime, but at least like, Frazier Ali at Madison Square Garden where Ali, man, was just like, I mean, it was, he was like, then you see the photos, film from him in the 60s where he's just so young and moving and then you see what they end on it. But yeah, I mean, Parkinson's is a terrible disease and everything. So
yeah, I have to look and see exactly what the Matt Hughes thing was.
So speaking of athletes retiring, Kerry Willis, safety for the Indianapolis Colts, Michigan State alumni and drafted on Michigan State, retired at age 26 after only 3 seasons in the NFL. He's going to go into the ministry.
Hey, well, whatever. I mean, if you find faith and that's what's driving your life, then you're happy with doing that.
And the Lion John Pennicini retired at age 25. I mean, you're going to see guys after their rookie contract are going to start one contract and they're done. Guys aren't going to be sticking around unless you're a quarterback or something like that. You're not. I mean, if you're not sticking around for 15 years anymore.
No, I don't think so. I think what you do is you come in, you get past your rookie contract, you get your big deal, and you get out.
Right.
Everybody knows they got one deal to make after their rookie contract. And then there are outliers, linemen, guys that'll have longer careers that won't make the huge, big money contract. They'll get it over the course of their career. So you'll have those. But, all your skilled position players that take the beating on a regular basis, your running backs, your wide receivers, your tight ends, all those
safeties, defensive linemen.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have
linebackers. Yeah, these cats are like that big contract after the rookie deal. They're done.
Yep. They basically
30 and out.
Yep. They want to get that big deal right after their rookie contract's up, and then set themselves for the afterlife, which is life after football is weird for a lot of those guys. So it's he found something that was cool for him. But a lot of these guys don't know what to do, and that's why 30 for 30 exists. I mean, how many players, whether they retired early on their own or forced out or whatever happened, injury, whatever, how many of those guys don't cope well with life after football?
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, 90% of them have some kind of problem or that arise from not having football anymore. And
I'm gonna have to take this call.
And so go right ahead. So I think there's a lot of different things that go into that. So when you start getting into like all those little nuances, it's it changes everything. So I think people will, like I said, you're going to get those cats that are outliers or whatnot, but for the most part, it's just get that deal and get out. It depends on your sport. Baseball is a different situation. They're getting basically they're just stealing money at this point, and you can have some longevity in a sport like that, but in football you can be smart, and a lot of these guys are going to TV. And podcasting is another huge thing. They can monetize social media and podcasting and different avenues and stuff. I mean, what is Draymond Green setting up? I mean, he's going to do podcasting and media and all that. He wants to be the new Charles Barkley. So, that's what all these guys are doing now. And, I mean, Brady signed a 10-year deal. He's not even done playing yet with, or whatever it was.
Richard Sherman just signed a deal. He's in the post game in the studio for Amazon from the Thursday night game.
Yep. Yeah, so I mean, these guys are all setting themselves up. Shit, Michael Strahan went to the goddamn Today Show or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
GMA. People straight hands on like every show for ABC. It
I
seems
know.
like.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do GMA. I'm doing the Fox football. I'm doing game shows on ABC, and I'm
he
like,
just does everything. Man.
dude, do you sleep?
Yeah,
I mean,
telling you.
seriously.
So it's pretty interesting in that respect. You know, you get, but so yeah, there's like that constant turnover, but I don't know, it sucks in some respects. You know, I want guys to get their money and get out healthy and do all that, but I miss the days where guys were, you know, spent 10, 12 seasons in the same place doing their thing. You just don't see as much of it anymore. So, but. Yippity yep. So we got the NBA action has been
it's been a weird series, even though we're in game 6 tomorrow night. It's like none of the games are close.
They're so disjointed.
Yes,
and they almost seem disjointed from each other, not just disjointed in themselves. It's so been kind of all over the board, and I wouldn't expect Boston, but they could. I would expect them to force a game 7, but just some weird anomalies. And so we'll get into it a little bit, Moose, because I want to get into you know, potential MVP. I want to get into different scenarios, what we can expect tomorrow, and if we're going to get a game 7 and all that. But we do this comparison a lot, like because they're playing at the same time. Once again, the NHL is just amazing. The playoff situation. It's taken us a little longer to kind of get here, but to have the Rangers get bumped and the Lightning come through and have all this history, and these games have been really good, and it's all. Look at the ratings.
yeah,
They're up across the board. Like the NHL is like giddy right now because you finally have. You know what? Everybody could say, "Oh, it's ESPN this, ESPN that." Nah, TNT saying we want some of that forced ESPN's hand, and now all of a sudden it created like a demand for hockey on television, and ESPN and TNT making those games easily accessible is a big part of why ratings are up.
Oh, God, because it was so easy to find. I mean, the regular season, the postseason,
Yep.
And now the finals are not on NBC Sports or on ABC.
Right.
They're on the mothership. I mean,
So-
basically, it's the local. I mean, the network
you're
on there
national,
versus
yeah,
where
yeah.
you get essentially free because you can pick it up off air and that.
Right.
With it. But yeah, I mean, you look on there. And of course, former host Scotty Super Genius says, he goes, "I'm rooting for Colorado." I'm like, "How the hell can you root for Colorado?" He goes,
Yeah.
"I just hate Tampa Bay." And then his brother-in-law Brian, same thing. I'm like, No, I'm not rooting for goddamn Colorado ever.
So
Ever.
you're going to root against a Steve Yzerman built team
Because they're tired of them being there all the time.
for the Colorado Avalanche.
No.
No.
Your
Your Red Wing fan has now been revoked. Did you just hear me, Scotty Super Genius? Your Red Wing fan card is pulled, homie. It just got pulled. I'm sorry.
I can't. Again, and who's the general manager of Colorado? Joe Sakic.
Come on. Card pulled.
I mean, granted, Sakic and Yzerman are freaking clones of each other because they're identically the same player. And that really, you look on there.
Sure.
I mean, if it would have been Claude Lemieux, were you rooting for them if the Claude Lemieux was your general manager? Hell no.
Pulled.
No, I'm not rooting for Colorado ever. I want them to lose every single game.
I mean,
No.
Jeez Louise, that makes no flipping sense. I mean, I guess if it was another team that you hated or that you liked, that would make sense. But how could it be the biggest rival? And
Now, if Edmonton was there, yeah, I'm going to root for Edmonton.
sure,
But again, Colorado, no. Hell no. No, again. It's like, oh yeah, Colorado's there. I'm not rooting for them. Toronto was on. If it's the Toronto was in the East, nope, not rooting for them.
Right.
Philly, nope. Boston, nope.
Yeah, definitely.
Pittsburgh, never.
Yeah, definitely not Pittsburgh. That's where I was about to go. Definitely not Pittsburgh, and definitely not Colorado. Others I can kind of get around here and there and kind of laugh it off, and because I don't really care either way. But you'll never ever catch me rooting for them. And then we can get off topic there. Get into it too. Here we go. This is something for the text line. We can get some action rolling here. What team can't you ever root for? I'll never root Ohio State. That'd be a team I'd never root for.
Oh hell no!
I can't think of any situation where I root for Ohio State unless it got U of M a national championship somehow. But I don't know they don't do it like that anymore.
That was
so
like
it wouldn't work.
I mean, right? How many years ago there was Ohio State was playing Notre Dame in like the Fiesta Bowl? Who are you rooting for? A blimp to come crashing down into the stands.
Yes, exactly.
Well, what about those innocent people? Are they really innocent?
Yeah.
Because they're fan bases of who? Notre Dame and Ohio State. Yeah. I can live without those people.
Yes, pretty much. 313-307-5340. What team can you just not root for? And why, if you want, throw them in there. 313-307-5340, Studio 57 Radio across social media. Go ahead and get on in that. We got a $1:20 to go here and an hour and 20 here yet left in the show. So I expect to hear some good ones. And then anything else you want to throw at us, of course, is fair game. As we are getting close to the end of the summer, or the end of our season here, and we'll be taking our little summer break. And so. Guys, I've been asked why we do that, and the numbers just bear it out. Guys, we got so much stuff going on, and so does all of you. And so the numbers just bear it out when you get to this time of year. There's just other things going on. And there's just not a whole lot of sports to get pumped up about. So we will, of course, be available on social media. We'll be sharing and posting stuff. And if breaking stories come, we might do some impromptu live videos with hot takes and dumb stuff and whatever, if we can squeeze it in. But, little family time, a little relaxation, we found really helps us recharge for the next season. And so we'll have our midsummer spectacular, and we'll have a good time here in these next couple of episodes, but we will be taking a little time off. But it's only from this show. I'll be working on some other content, so we'll have some wrestling content coming to this station during the downtime, because as you know, when we take our downtime from this show, we try to fill the gaps with other stuff and use that as our test runs for anything we may do potentially. So still make sure you're following us here at Studio 57 Radio and staying up to date with what's going on, because we'll have a couple of other endeavors that we'd like to put out there for you guys to see if you like and what's going on. It's kind of typical if you've been listening to the station for the 15 years we've been doing this thing. When we did shift over to taking the summers off, we did that for a dual layer scenario. So like I said, there'll be some other content that we'll put out here and do some test runs and see what you guys like and don't like. And so make sure you stay tuned with us regardless. Like I said, if something breaks big in sports and we're not here to do a show, we're still going to share it on social media and get our take out there. And of course, the Midsummer Spectacular will be just us going nutty about everything we missed while we were gone. So don't just tune out on Studio 57 Radio because we take a little break. I just want to get that out there. So we're in the NBA Finals on there tomorrow night. And again, Boston, especially the last two games, have basically collapsed in the second half. Really on there, especially Game 5 where they just with it. It's just it goes back to what we were talking about before. I said really the only thing that they can't have happen is these lapses that they've kind of had on and off all year and through the playoffs where they just can't hit the broadside of a barn.
No.
And at some point, if you can just hit a couple baskets here and there, none of this happens. Right. Like you don't lose, you don't blow leads and have close games. You don't let games get out of hand. All those things don't happen. You know, and I'm going to be like 100% legit here. I need Tatum to win me a game.
Yes.
I need him to take the ball in the closing minutes and steal me a game. And I just haven't seen that.
No.
And so that's the next evolution for him. I know he's only 24, and he's gotten this far already. I would expect with a young team, they would be able to get back, but you can never take that for granted. And so, that's one thing that I really wish I was seeing from Tatum was that. Now, I know I can see that from Steph. I know he's got that. The problem with Golden State is, can you get production elsewhere, and can it not just be the Steph Curry show? Because if it is a Steph Curry show, they lost the game. You just lost the game that way. But like, that's not the formula for success for them, and Boston can handle it typically. But I don't know. I'm not sure what's been going on. I almost want to get into and say, hey, it's a coaching thing. But when you start looking at how things are done, and how what Boston's kind of done, I think, and what Tatum's done, a lot of it is consistency from Tatum.
Yes.
Because he's your guy. He's your number one guy. And even if he's not hitting, he needs to keep shooting. He can't defer. Or he needs to be taking it to the basket.
That's his problem. He's not taking it to the basket on
And
it.
so
They had a stat on there, they said on the other day on it, from his shots from 2 points.
Oh, they're terrible.
He's 17 out of 61.
Yeah,
he's under
horrible.
33. He's under 30%.
Horrible mid-range game.
Hold on a second.
And that's kind of my point, right? Like, if you've got that kind of talent and you have a drought like that, you've got to find a way to manufacture a basket. You got to break up that rhythm. Like, we talk about this game, 15 points. 15 points is not a lead anymore. Like, that's just a handful of baskets, and I'm back in this game again. And a big part of that is because you don't ever break up rhythm if you're missing a bunch of shots. If you go 3.5 minutes without scoring, they're going to score a lot of points more than likely, because they are the ones that are shooting and working in rhythm while you are not. And that's like a big thing that I don't see when the team gets out of rhythm. Your leader, your star player, should be taking the team on his back type of a moment. And I just haven't seen that from Tatum, as to where we've seen that from Steph Curry. And I think that's been a big part of why so many people say Golden State's going to win this. Golden State's going to win this from the beginning. Now, in all fairness, I picked Boston in 7, and this hopefully should and will go 7 games. I think if we go through this series and get a great Game 7, then all this stuff that we were just making fun of earlier before Moose stepped out would be all a wash. It wouldn't matter. It would all go away because of an excellent Game 7. But, we're not trending in that way. And that's the big thing. That's what I want to see from my star, is that when you're taken out of rhythm and the other team is in rhythm, and you need to break that. You have to break that up. You have to take your team on your back, and you have to make baskets. It's the same thing. If you're missing your shot, then you need to draw double teams by driving to the basket. You need to keep shooting. You need to be getting to the rim. You need to be facilitating and making other guys better and elevating that anything you can do. And some of that stuff I haven't quite seen out of Tatum yet, as to where I have seen that from Steph. And in fairness, there's a ton of guys that have had. I mean, LeBron James had that issue when he had his first run at the finals. Even to this day, Kyrie's the winning shot, like in Cleveland. And when you start thinking about that kind of stuff, and even in his first year in Miami, wasn't like he was lighting the world on fire. Who else am I thinking of early in their career that just wasn't necessarily, the clutch? Oh, Dirk. Dirk is another guy that wasn't necessarily, it took him a while to kind of get there and all that. So, like, I'm not killing I don't want to kill Tatum. I don't want to sound like this is a burial of Tatum, but I want him to take that. We talk about it all the time here because we were blessed with Isaiah Thomas, and I want that. I don't want him to play like Isaiah. I want him to have that mentality. It's the Mamba mentality, I think, is
and
what
now
everybody
now he
knows
says
it
he's
as
going to
now.
channel. He's going to channel Kobe's Mamba for Game 6.
Well, that's what he says now, but
We'll see.
Where have you been?
Yeah, where's that been on there?
Right.
Yeah, that's the problem with the on there. He doesn't take over the game on there. He doesn't have that. Basically, I'm gonna stick the knife in you and I'm gonna twist. I'm gonna watch you bleed out.
Well, the whole thing is it's his consistency issue that leads to this, right? He's wildly inconsistent, and so you see all these flashes of how great he can be and how great he is, but he's unable to like maintain that. I mean, even in the regular season, the dude does it. It's like he's almost like the fans. He doesn't even try until after Christmas.
Right.
That's what it feels like. Like he doesn't pick up till end of December, January, and then all of a sudden you get superstar Tatum. Right. And so like you can't do that. Like you're not going to be able to function like that in this league for any length of time with that kind of inconsistency. And so it spreads to the team, and it goes to what I was saying when you stepped out, Moose. When you're having that inconsistency and you're losing that rhythm and you can't hit shots and the other team is rolling, they just seem to steamroll over these guys because they never even just get to the basket. Just get a cheap hoop. Just get one. Just get a foul. Just anything to stop the clock, get some points on the board. Whatever you got to do to break up that momentum. And it's like they never can get anything going consistently from game. There's no Moose. We used to talk about momentum from game to game. There isn't even momentum from quarter to quarter in this series for either team. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And I think that's why, to me, even though Golden State put 2 wins together back to back and put the pressure on Boston, it still feels like this is I don't know. Can you definitively say, oh, yeah, I think Golden State's winning it tonight?
Yes.
So you feel like this is it?
Tomorrow night, I think.
Tomorrow night.
I think this is Golden State's to win tomorrow night on there.
Well, obviously, if they lose it, I mean, yeah, obviously. But I mean, can you sit here and go, "Oh yeah, dude, I got"?
No, I think Boston might be able to play. I mean, again, if Tatum does what we think he can do and actually takes over a game, then yes, I think they're going to win. I think Boston can win this. Now, if Tatum has been playing like he's been the last couple games, then Golden State's going to win this by 15.
Boston hasn't lost 3 games in a row at all in the playoffs.
No, they haven't lost
2 games in a row.
2 games in a row in the last 5 months.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. And now they're at home. So like you can, and granted they haven't been that great at home, but with that, the veracity of the fan base and all that stuff going on, and Steve Kerr, kind of putting it out there that he wants to get it done now and not even get it back to Golden State. And, you're going to play that bulletin board bullshit, even if it's horse crap. You're going to do all those different things. So like to me, and Vegas is like, hey dude, we're putting 4 points on Boston.
Right.
So they think Boston has got a chance to squeak this one out as well. So I just, that's the thing about the series. Even though Golden State was able to flip it, I feel there's no momentum at all from game to game. And as you watch these quarters, there's no momentum from quarter to quarter.
No.
How does Boston, you get, they're down, they climb back, they take the lead at halftime, and usually fall apart in the third quarter. They hold the third quarter and then shit the bed in the fourth.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, just couldn't hit nothing.
Yeah,
so
they said it's like Golden State, it's like plus 49 in the third quarter in the finals, whereas and then all the essentially the first, the second, and the fourth quarter, Boston is like a plus 52. So it's very balanced if you look at that. But the games, you look at a great game first half, and all of a sudden the fourth quarter is just like the hell. I mean, one of those, both teams have faded terribly in the fourth quarter throughout this whole series.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
with it.
So I want to get into the Draymond thing. I want to get into and break down kind of either side, all this shenanigans. I want to get into all that stuff. And then, and then I want same thing on the other side. I want to get into a little MVP. I want to go into the role players. I want to get into all that stuff. So let's dive deeper into this thing.
Okay.
I think we could have a little bit more fun with it, guys. Text line is open. A team I can never root for is, of course, Bama. Well, that's Bama fatigue. That's what that is. SEC fatigue. Really, to be honest with you, there's a lot of that going around. So Bama. Any guys? Sorry, no, that's from the 213. No name on there. I'll corral some more of these up. We're still got that available for you too. 313-307-5340. The team you just can't root for no matter what. And NBA action on the other side.
Yep. Right. We are DSR2 Studio 57 Radio.
You're listening to Studio 57 Radio, your home for underground hip-hop, rap, and R&B. Studio 57 Radio.
Party people, this is the original Doc Ice, and you are definitely listening to Studio 57 Radio. And if Studio 57 Radio isn't on, then your radio ain't really on. Check that.
You're listening to Studio 57 Radio, your home for underground hip-hop, rap, and R&B. Studio 57 Radio.
Hey everybody, Scrappy here to tell you about a radio show. Hang with me as I break down the world of entertainment with great celebrity interviews, awesome games with wonderful prizes. Also, we've got the biggest library of underground hip-hop of any station on the net. You mix in a little stand-up comedy and a text line so your voice can be heard, and you got a pretty good little show. But add listener-controlled programming? Yeah, you heard me. Listener-controlled programming, where you, the listener, can decide what makes it on the air. And now you've got the greatest show ever created. So join my show, your show, our show, the people's show, that radio show, each and every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, here on Studio 57 Radio.
Hey everybody, this is your boy Big D, here to tell you about Mark for Life Tattoos. Guys, this place is the cleanest, most laid-back studio in Metro Detroit, and the artists are top-notch. And if you're like me from the D, you need to stop in on Fridays for that D-Day and get your old English D for only $20. Not interested in tattoos? Mark for Life does body piercings. Mark for Life is located at 22533 Van Dyke in Warren, and the guys are there 7 days a week from noon to 9. So give them a call at 757-2220. That's 586-757-2222. Tell them Studio 57 20% off. So what are you waiting for? Call them now.
Hey everybody, Smokey here to tell you about Allstate. winter fast approaching, the most important thing between you and the road is your tires. So don't put your safety in just anybody's hands. Go to Allstate Tire. With new and quality used tires available, you can trust Allstate Tire for all your tire needs. You can visit them at 14208 9 Mile Road or give them a call at 586-779-8759. Allstate Tire, your source for quality new and used tires.
What's happening, everybody? Scrappy here to tell you about Love and Life Club. Love and Life Club, social networking club that's located at 19960 James Cousins. That's the Lodge Service Drive, 7 and 8 Mile Road in the D. You need to stop in for $5 Fridays for great music, food, and drinks. I personally recommend the chicken. Love and Life Club is also available for rental for bachelor parties, wedding receptions, or any party for that matter. For more info, log on to www.loveandlifeclub.com. That's loveandlifeclub.com, or call D at 313-999-2824. That's 313-999-2824. That's Love and Life Club. If you're loving life, you need to be in the club.
Taking over this broadcast for the ultimate underground.
Studio 57 Radio Original. You know, when you hear that sound, you're gonna have a good time, because that's the sound of the Mid Underground live concert webcast from the Detroit area. We go to the most famous, or should I say infamous, venues in the D and bring the underground music scene streets to your computer like nobody else can. There's only one catch. You never know when and where the ultimate underground is gonna take over a broad. So you need to stay tuned to Studio 57 Radio all day, every day, for clues on when and where the next Ultimate Underground may happen. Now there's no option on the net that's going to give you this live webcast of some of the hottest artists in the D. That's the Ultimate Underground live on your home for hip-hop, rock and metal, radio, baby.
Goodbye.
What you want, cause we got what you need. Studio the streets of the D. Recording, mix, mastering, or great dude to keep you hot on the streets. You get what we got, what you need. Studio 57 service, mixing, mastering, or great beats. We do to keep you hot on the streets. Studio digital recording studio that utilizes Logic Pro, Shure, AKG, Sennheiser, Ibanez, Fender, Fruity Loops, and make pop. Experienced and friendly engineers like your home away from home. With beat creating, mastering, digital media conversion, and Studio 57 Records is your one-stop shop music entertainment needs. We have on-bill page. That makes Studio 57 the place to. For information, visit Studio 57 Records with us www.studio7record. Call us at 586-420-390. That's 586-490, or log on to studio57.com. And just remember one thing, man, got what you need. Studio 57 service, recording, mixing, mastering, or great beats. You get what you want, cause we got what you need. Studio 57 service, streets of the D, or great beats. We do what we do to keep
Original Doc Ice, and you are definitely Studio 57 Radio. And if it wasn't on, then your radio's on. Check that.
You're listening to Radio, your home for underground and R&B. Studio Radio.
Yo, Rebels. How been? I see some people that just can't do it. Bob and the 313, y'all killing me here. Scotty the super genius. That's what I said. Fan card pulled. But that's all right. We can't mess with him. He's not here. Of what team can you root for? And you don't have to tell me why. I ain't rooting for Ohio State. That's why, do you? So we got that on the NBA Finals. The last couple of games, grimy and dirty, and we're going to get into that. Everything else. So let's do this thing. Without further ado, let's get into of DSR2. I am Scrappy.
Back over the second hour of DSR2 in our penultimate episode here on it. Next week's our season finale. On it, we got, again, we talked about a lot of hot steam out there. We do have an up 3-1 at the end of the first period. So there we go. On here, the
Well, Scotty all happy now. Coat.
rat bastard.
Traitor.
So yeah, we'll get into that on time here and kind of break this down a little bit. The NBA. I mean, if you look on here, the 4 games, and I think the closest game, the last 2, and there were still 10 teams.
Yeah, but we've talked about that. 18 points can be made up in
Yeah,
pretty
especially
quick.
we saw that game on Golden State, man. They were down. I was like, boom, oh shit.
Yeah.
And Netflix pulled out in the fourth quarter on that one. So
Yeah, I think really what you got here now, we talked a little bit about if it's the first hour, don't you worry. You can catch up when we're done in its entirety. But if you can't find us, 7 Radio on YouTube and, of course, your social media and studio57radio.com. But we've got, you can catch we talked a little bit about what we need from Tatum, what we need to see from Boston, and get into that a little bit more. But I want to flip it over to Golden State because they're in dynasty mode. Like you're talking about, potentially 4 championships in 8 years. Talking about they've done it with kind of different eras, but still same core. And the window is shrinking, especially for the way they do it, and who they could have. But they've done it pretty well. These guys, they've signed them to and extended them, kept the guys there. But now it's like these max contracts, and they're gonna pay to try to keep this team together, just like they have been. And that, but we can get into that model another day on whether that's going to be successful or not. The situation they have right now is, let's be real. We'll get to the Klay Thompson thing in a minute. He's not been hit, and will we see the old Klay Thompson? We'll have a conversation in a minute. But Draymond Green is the elephant in the room. I mean, when you've got some points or rebounds, that's an issue. And look, I get it. There's agitators in all of sports, and basketball is known for years. I mean, we could sit here and go over and over agitators that were just on the Pistons.
God.
And you know what I'm saying? And so, you know what I'm saying? So, we love haters. Don't get it twisted. And isn't Draymond from Say? I mean, I ain't hating a guy that's local. I'm a guy that went to the local university. I hate a guy who wasn't supposed to be what he turned out to be in the pro. But I am questioning, how long this can work for him. We were talking about a little bit off, and we'll get into our MVP talk as well. But he continue to come out and grab 5 rebounds and throw fists and have a block and 4 overs and 5 fouls.
right.
Including a tech ever. That is not, even Rodman got you 15, 18 rebound game.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He was a double team because he'd get excuse him. So any of these great actors, they did something. Contributors in some way. Ben Wallace, machine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right off the ball. I mean, yeah. Draymond, you're not getting what you're paying for.
Mahorn was your stretch 4, right? Original.
Yeah. He was him and Mikhail were basically
Right.
the stretch 4s.
Right. So he was an agitator, but he was outside shots, and he was making these. And he was shooting jump shots. He wasn't just out there knocking people around. I mean, that was a big part of it. Mahorn was still giving you, off the bench. Point. What is Draymond giving you at this point? Now I get it. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but I'm watching these games too, man. I'm not. You know what I mean? It's not so. Granted, even earlier in some of these in series, or not the series, but in these playoffs, he's been able to be effective as well. But in this series, I feel like it's turning into what the Draymond is. And how long does that last? How long? I mean, if you don't win this championship, then that's. I mean, Golden State guys are. You guys are done until you draft somebody.
Right,
Another,
4.
Yeah, you get another player, and they don't. And the reason I say draft is because give me a guy. I'm Golden State. That's a big name free agent they sign on this squad. They don't. They don't. Give me out of all the guys that contribute to this championship run. Besides that's the only guy that you can give me is Kevin Durant. That's it. KD's the only one.
Yeah.
Then they don't normally do that because they've drafted all these guys and they won championships before they brought in.
I mean, the other one was and I believe it was Iguodala, and I think they made a trade for him, but it was a big contract.
And he wasn't a big time player at the time.
No, he was done. He was done past his prime. And basically a role player. He brought the with it, but yeah, I mean, he was with that. But yeah, I mean, they don't do that. They don't sign. They make trades. I mean, Wiggins was a trade.
Right. That's because
he got D'Angelo Russell, and then they flipped that for
right. And you know what? And if LeBron wasn't, going win now, you wouldn't have got Wiggins.
No. No, that was D'Angelo Russell.
Oh, D'Angelo Russell, right.
And they traded that, and they basically suckered Minnesota because it's Minnesota.
Right, yeah. But I mean, if that doesn't happen.
Yeah, they give D'Angelo Russell for Wiggins and Minnesota's, or no, they got Wiseman on their own. But yeah. They do the right thing smarter. They don't go after big free. They try to build it within.
Right. So they've always done that, and then they'll just pay the guys and keep them long term. So like I said, I just feel like unless you go out and make a big splash, which nobody's gonna. How are you gonna do that? You're not gonna get Westbrook. What's he gonna do? Like who's out there? Like who are you gonna get? There isn't. You have to draft the next guy.
Well, first of all, they don't need Westbrook because they already got 3 great guards.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They don't. You don't
need him. You don't need a Harden. You don't need any of these guys that could potentially be available. What big name potential free agent out there available? So they don't even have one to pick from.
No, not this year. No, there's nothing. There's nobody worth jumping on through hoops.
Right for next season. So that's what I'm saying. The Draymond thing is they don't win this championship. I question their ability to get back next year, currently constructed. I mean, especially if we don't get the old Klay Thompson. Yeah. Because that's another part of this equation that we haven't quite got to yet. But you can't deny the fact that Klay Thompson has not been.
Well, again, on the flip side is if Boston doesn't win, this is the closest they've been getting to a championship in over a decade.
Yeah, but they're in their 20s. All these, other than Horford, all these guys are like baby.
For them, do you go after again? There's really no free agents that I would go after.
But what do you need to do? Right, you've got these cats that are only going to get better, and you got to the finals.
You probably just need a locker room guy on there, a veteran.
That's what I'm saying.
Like you got Horford, who's basically that.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. But remember the Pistons did the whole Dantley and McGuire situation, right?
Yeah.
Like one subtle change, like off the bench or whatever, might be a catalyst. You just never know. You don't.
Right.
So to me, Boston seems, especially in the East, where it's just weird and crazy, it feels like, yeah, they're not necessarily favored to go back, but if they got there this way, like, why couldn't they get back at some point? Now, are they favored? Do I think they're going to win another? They could be in a position to win another championship. That's a tough call when you've got Giannis and these guys in the East, Embiid and all that. But how long are these guys going to continue? I mean, come on, man. He went through. Who did he go through? Think about the talent he went through. That Boston went through, and Tatum went through, and Brown went through.
Oh, I think Boston had the harder road.
You know what I'm saying? Because that Tatum combination is paid dividends for them for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
So, like, I would expect that to get better, not get worse. So, as to where you can see the downside of Draymond, who is their 3. They're out of their big 3. And so I see a drop off here. I don't see who the next guy is unless you're looking at a guy like Poole, but then you're looking at a total different look. It's a different player. It's a different feel. He's a shooter. He's a guard. He's facilitating. He's not Draymond. He's not out there bodying people and rebounding and doing all that stuff. He's not quarterbacking. He's not, rah, 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 and he's none of that. Like, how do you replace all of that? Because, Draymond's, it's turned into a joke.
Yeah.
Quite frankly. I mean, it's come to a point now where these guys have to defend his nonsense. I mean, we talked about it last week with the stupid technicals and all that, and at least they got that in check. Because we talked about that last week. Are they going to keep his technicals and the way his philosophy was? Are they going to keep that in check or what? And so yeah, they were the game was, but I mean, you've seen what his game's turned into. And I think you look at the other side, and that's kind of the downside for Golden State. So I feel there's a little bit more pressure to win the series with those guys. All that being said, I can't believe that they're still in this thing, and that's where I'm disappointed in Boston. When you've got a hurt Clay, or you got a hurt Steph Curry, and you've got a Draymond not performing like he has been in his career earlier. And we said Klay Thompson is not himself. Like, you need to capitalize on that. You just went through the gauntlet of teams in the East, and then you get here, and this is how you reacted. So, like, I don't want to be talking out of both sides of my mouth here. I want to, be real about it. The biggest problem is that Boston doesn't have that guy that can fix that drought, that can take that team when they're just poop in the bed and getting run out of the gym and pick them up and just carry them for a minute, enough to slow them down. Like, they don't have none of that. And it feels like in this series, because it's just, and both teams are like that. They're up and down. I mean, Steph's going to hit a shot when he has to, but he's had some less than stellar performance too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, the last game, I mean, he had that 43 on there with it, and
he ain't going to do that again.
No, I mean, he's hurt too, so we'll see on that. So, I mean, really, if you look onto it on there, he's probably been, even though he had not a great game, the last game on there overall, he's been their most consistent and probably their, and then he's won them. Obviously game 5, game 2, and game 5 in that. I mean, game 4. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Here's Klay Thompson in Game 6's on there since 2006. Oh shoot, they just had it, and damn it, I clicked. It was a video on there. He's averaging like 30 points in Game 6's since 2016. Klay.
Oh yeah, but
again, he's still coming off. Remember, he had his ACL blown out, and then he blew out Achilles. Coming back, I mean, really, last year he blew out the Achilles. Just this training camp came on there, so he was out for year and a half on there. And Achilles really is a 2-year injury.
Yes.
So this year.
Well, that's the thing. I'm hoping that by next year he will we'll start to see those flashes of him coming back and starting to have some of that consistency. But it's not happening now.
Right.
And even if you get, and this is up for debate, because I will contend that how old is Klay right now? What, like 28?
28, I believe.
Something like that. So granted, but at 30, I got news for you. Your speed drops off precipitously at right around 30.
Yeah.
And your first step drops is part of that issue. And your first step is what did we talk about he had done? His Achilles and
he had his ACL, and then the next year he blew out his Achilles.
So you're talking about these injuries and how they would affect his game is much more dramatic than I think people understand. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't believe that the Klay Thompson we saw prior to those injuries,
I don't know if he ever comes back.
He doesn't.
Especially for a guy that's...
He can be a quality player still,
right,
and still finish his career, but you have a Grant Hill situation here.
Exactly.
I mean,
At least he's come back and played this year, and he's had moments of pretty good on there. But yeah, remember again, a guard, especially a guard, whether it's shooting guard or point guard, their whole attribute is on speed and movability.
The first step, doing the jab step, being able to juke and move and cut, all those things, and then having some speed, all that stuff. You lose when you start getting there. And granted, he's only 28, and but at 30, that stuff drops. After those surgeries, that stuff drops. And you're talking about a couple of years, really recovery to kind of get back. And then, do you still feel confident? I broke my foot, Moose, playing basketball. I broke my foot. I broke that big bone that goes across there that holds the whole foot together. And I'm going to tell you something. I was healed and I was green lighted by the doctors, but I didn't feel right for probably 4 years.
Right.
Maybe more. And even now, when my foot goes into a weird place or does some kind of strenuous on it, there's a stress on it, I feel like, because, and you're talking 15 years ago, 12 years ago. So, it would have been 09. So, yeah. So, it's just, it's something that you just never get. It's never the same. And then when you're at that age where you start to kind of naturally drop off anyway, and not in basketball, you don't need this blazing speed. We're not talking about wide receivers in football or cats running track or any of that kind of stuff. But, you still, those injuries are significant for, what he does. And I just don't think you get that Klay Thompson that you're used to getting. Now, if you can get a good game and steal a game here, then you win a championship. So that's the situation you're in right now, and that's all you can worry about is, hey, man, if I can get these three guys all clicking for one game, just one game, not even the whole game, just in certain points, just certain moments, certain key times, we can steal a championship, and we'll worry about the rest later. They're in that situation. That's a real situation, and that's a good place for them to be in because they've got guys that can do it. So that's what makes these last couple of games, to me, even though Golden State flipped it and they should be in the driver's seat, and they are in the driver's seat, it still feels like this is anybody's series. Nobody has definitively done anything that's made me feel great.
No.
It's the weirdest thing. Usually when you have this back and forth kind of thing with the series, you can kind of make heads or tails of it, and I don't feel like I can.
Yes. And it's like a couple of the other series where that goes 7 games, but you're like, yeah, I went 7 games, but really? I mean,
and it's funny because after the first rounds, we were just in here puffed up like little happy birds, man. We were like, oh, the NBA playoffs came to the NHL playoffs. What's up? I mean,
the Boston, Miami. It went 7 games, but it didn't feel like a great, epic 7-game series for the ages because none of the games were close. Yes, it went 7 games, but each game was just like, yeah.
Well, and that's what you're seeing here, and it's like there's a common denominator there.
Yeah, because when we see 7-game series, 2, probably 3 games are just like, wow. Yes, down to the wire.
Yeah. And to your point, you talk about game 5 being the pivotal game in a series. Is typically, especially if it's a long, drawn out series. But I think even if Golden State happens to win this, the emphasis really goes on game 4. They don't win game 4, and I think it's a different situation. And so I really think that game 4 is what it was the catalyst for this thing, especially if they finish it tonight. So, but once again, the NBA's parity doesn't guarantee any of these guys get back, and I just feel like Golden State's got to get this one if they want to complete that dynasty and of that team in this era. Even though KD moved on, and then Boston, the East is a murderer's row, but they've done it before, and they're young enough to do it again if they make. Because think about it, This is his first-year head coach situation.
Yeah.
So, like, let's be real about this. You've got a 24-year-old leading a team with a first-year head coach.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's...
So what do you want? And they did that shift on the fly and put the coach in the front office.
Right.
So, like, the fact Boston was able to do that and then run through murderer's row of what really was the East at that, when they came through, I just think, like, even if they lose this, even if they get beat tomorrow, Boston fans have got something to look at. You know what I mean? They don't have to go.
Yeah, the future is definitely bright with
Sure.
Boston, especially with the way that team's constructed it. Sure. And again, if Golden State wins, what? Obviously, we know Steph is the greatest shooter of all times we've ever seen. Where does this put him up in the rankings of all times? I mean, again, this gives him his 4th ring.
Yes, and I like all that. I think, though, when you look at, and this is what's going to happen with detractors, you're going to start looking at where he falls. He's going to go down as the greatest shooter. We know that. But that's probably where it ends, to be quite honest, because if you start looking at the greatest point guards, he's not in that
I don't say he
conversation.
moves up, but does this move him in like of players all time? I mean, yes, he's not the greatest point guard of all time because
No, but I'm talking about just the conversation. I'm talking about like Mount Rushmore, for a better lack of a term. You know what I mean? If you're in the conversation for the, this, that, or the other, it's usually, we're talking about 3 or 4 guys, right? So we'll say the Mount Rushmore. We'll put it at 4. So does he make the point guard Mount Rushmore? No. Does he, he's a Hall of Famer. Sure, you win that many championships, you're a Hall of Famer. I mean, I think that's basically it. Does an MVP, a finals MVP, put him in the conversation maybe now? Does he get to somebody's Mount Rushmore with an MVP? I don't know if that changes the
he
conversation.
might be
or
that
not.
4th on there, or he'll be that one that's just left off at number 5 for greatest point guard of all time and that.
Right.
But overall player, does this move him into the top 10 of all time? Because again, we all know, point guard wise, it's even though you say Magic was a power forward point to that, and again, we just have to say is just because he did play point, but even though he's a freak of nature, being a 6'9" point guard, so I still got Magic on there, and I still got Zeke number 2. And I would probably still put Oscar Robinson at number 3 because he was the original triple-double guy with there, and he did win a title with Milwaukee and so forth with it. His problem is he was played in the 60s, and he had to go against Boston and Philly and the Lakers every year. I mean, that was pretty much the whole 60s.
Yeah, but there's so many point guards out there over the years that people will bring up before they start thinking about Steph Curry.
I say, right. I mean, but for shooter-wise, unfortunately,
because all they see him is a 3-point shooter.
Right. They see him as a pure shooter net.
Yep.
And again, he doesn't have the numbers as an assist in it, but again, it's only like.
And he's not the facilitator on his own team.
No.
That's what holds him back as well. Because you have Draymond, basically, your facilitator for the most part on that offense. And then when it wasn't Draymond, it was Kevin Durant when he was there.
Right.
So,
but if you look at
Clay more before him.
But if you look at this year on there for assists, especially the playoff-wise, it's almost like a 4-headed monster for assists because you've got Draymond and Clay and Steph and Poole are all hitting at 4 to 7 assists per game. And again, you look at a couple games under, all 4 of them are getting 6 assists.
Well, that's because of Kerr's offense. They're always making the extra pass, and that whole offense is predicated on ball movement.
Now, where does this go? Put Kerr, for example, as head coach. Does this put him into that top 10 echelon?
Well, it doesn't, only because he has to continue it. The thing that he does have on his favor, and that may work in his favor, is that his win percentage blows everybody away. He's 73% or something.
They've only lost 2 series
since
he's been head coach in the playoffs.
Right.
And guess what? Both of those were finals.
Right.
And both of those went 7-game finals.
Right. And if he loses one, this one would have to be a 7-game final.
But if he's
as well.
4-2 overall in the finals, like, holy crap. I mean,
his win percentage is what gets him there. This is the key. This is what will make him, and this is what works with all these other coaches. If you want to get in the conversation with Popovich and Riley and Phil Jackson, you want to be in that conversation, then you've got to do it with another version of your team. You don't have to go to another team, just the new iteration. We're talking about it now.
You're right.
If Klay Thompson isn't who he is, and you're moving on from Draymond, and Steph is, you know, on the north side of his career, you're going to revamp this team. And yes, you're going to keep Klay and Steph, but Klay's role is going to change, and Steph's may change a little bit too, and someone else is going to have to come in and kind of take the reins of this team and carry them into the future and win championships. Can you do that? Can you win another championship? If you can do that with another iteration of this team, because it's not like before where you can win. If you know, like Phil won all those because he had Jordan, so he won so many consecutively, and they continued to get there and do well because even when Jordan was gone, they were still a playoff team,
Right.
And so he looked really good there. He went to L.A. and he had Kobe and Shaq, but like that's what you got to do, man.
Yeah,
You've got to be able.
Pat Riley got Showtime, goes to the Knicks, does the whole opposite of Showtime. The 180,
yeah,
because they were a bunch of thugs. Gets to a finals.
Yeah.
Then he goes to Miami, builds that into a honor. They win a title there when he's head coach with Dwayne and Shaq, and then he basically redoes it again as general manager, getting LeBron and Bosh there with it, and wins two titles again there. So you almost look at it as Riley might be up there with the best GMs of the game in that. I mean, again, Showtime he's a coach in that, but he has as an executive and coach on it. But he did win multiple championships with two different organizations on there as a head coach in that. General manager wise, it's still going to be the logo, Jerry West and Red Auerbach is probably the best general managers.
Sure. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I mean, as far as from the coaching standpoint, I mean it is what it is. So I don't know. We've got a lot of so that to me, Kerr is got to, whatever the reiteration, whatever the new version of the Golden State, he can do that. Or he can go to another team, but he needs to build that team.
Right. He needs to build up a winner
So,
team on there. And again, how long does Golden State have? Because, Steph's now in his 30s. Klay is pushing 30. Draymond's now in his 30s. I mean, Iguodala is 170.
Right. But, I mean, if you think about it, that's how you do it. You either go to a team and you win it again, or you have the new iteration. It's the same thing. Popovich had two versions of the Spurs with both of them.
Yeah, the only common denominator we had Timmy.
Yeah, but Timmy was a rookie the first time. He was young.
Because he had David Robinson that first time on there. Oh, yeah. I mean, again.
Yeah, when Timmy was like, it was just.
Yeah, the year it blows out his knee, they get the first pick overall, and they win a title.
Yeah, they get him back, and
they can win another one. And then after Rob retires, and they basically went with Ginobili and Timmy, and then they win a later on with Kawhi and Timmy, and so he's done with it.
Yeah.
Of the modern day coach on there that's built, I mean, Popovich might be the best coach.
Yeah. As far as and he stayed with his team and he just revamped.
And who knows? I mean, if they
he's a Belichick version of
he's a Bill Belichick version of the NBA.
Yeah.
With that, but I mean, the MVP. It's probably going to be Curry winning the MVP if the wins it, and if not. If Tim wills them to win his title and takes on Game 6, and he wills them in Game 7, he'll be MVP.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too, and it's weird because it doesn't matter who wins. It's somebody's got to. I still feel like he is available out there. You can have a weird one. I mean, the Iguodala one is an outlier, but if you have somebody like Wiggins or Poole or something go off for this game and they win it, you know what I'm saying? And they're a big part of that. And they've been a part of some of this other. I mean, you can goofy like that happen. I don't like that. I don't want to see that. But I feel like you're kind of just giving it to Steph to give it to Steph because he had the 43-point game. Like, that's all you got? Because I feel like that's all you got. I mean, that's no joke.
But even Game 1 they lost, he was like 28 points. I think Game 2 he was right around 30 points when they blew them out on there. But then again, everybody was in double digits for Golden State, it seems like.
Oh, I was going to say, they're doing it. He's going to do that. He's consistent. Like how is he impacting the game? Like we've had the 43-point game. You could tell how he.
And again, he got injured and he goes off for 43. Game 4 reminded me a lot of Game 6 of the 85. Zeke sprained the ankle and he blows up for 20 just in the third quarter.
Right. That's why I say if they win it, that's the game that won it. That's the game that changes it, especially if they win it tonight.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah, tomorrow night. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's the game.
Yeah, Game 4 was the one to turn it.
You're right, because we talked about Game 5 being the one prior to this week when we were talking about a Game 5. And typically that is. I mean, it only makes sense unless it's a sweep or something like that. Game 5 typically is the one. But in this case, if it goes down like that, it will be
Game 4. Basically got injured and it goes off ridiculous. So
Yep. And so, and if they do win and he has a good game, if Steph goes off and plays well, they win it, then you have no arguments for me. It's got to be Steph.
Yeah.
So
yeah, if Steph goes off for 35, 40 points in Game 6 and win it, then he's got to get it.
So it's just one of those. But does that put him in that conversation? I don't know. I don't know another championship. I don't know. I just feel like.
I feel more confident winning another championship than LeBron.
Oh, LeBron. Yeah. How about I got one for you? LeBron never's in another finals in his career.
Unless he basically goes on someplace for the veteran minimum just to get another title. He doesn't win. He doesn't get to another finals.
Yeah, he doesn't sniff another finals, and unless he does some mercenary shit, and I don't think anybody will take him.
Who knows? I mean, then he got to another playoff. He's the Lakers.
Lakers are in big trouble, so I don't know what's going to happen there.
Did you hear the stupid thing on there is Stephen A. Smith's like, AD, I would take him over all these other guys out there, over Tatum and all that. If he's healthy, I'm thinking
he would take a healthy AD over and over what's his name in Dallas?
Luka. I'm
Yeah.
like, first of all, AD's never healthy. Again, if I was 6'10", I would have played in the NBA. But guess what? I'm not, and he's never ever.
No, it's the dumbest argument ever.
God,
dumbest argument ever. It's like saying, it's one of those things like, when you start talking about the greatest center of all time. Well, yeah, if Bill Walton blew out his knees. And
he might be the greatest center of all time.
He might be, but guess what? He did. His career was shortened. He's one of the better college centers ever.
Yeah, he's a top 5 college center of all time.
Yeah. The
only problem is he might be top 3, but. Guy that went to the program who came before him is the greatest college of all time.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is
undebatable.
That is a unanimous decision. If you said no, then you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude couldn't play as a freshman, played years, won basically player of the year twice. He was finals MVP or the tournament all 3 times, and he won 3. So again, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the greatest college center of all time, college player of all time. Again, on the greatest scorer, it's Pistol Pete.
Yeah,
because he was at a point game without a 3-pointer.
Sure.
If he had a 3-pointer, it'd be 50-something points a game.
Texas, I can't root for the Lions anymore, and I'm like, you're with me, buddy. I appreciate you.
I'm away from the Lions.
I'm a cue the clown music with the Lions. But I have to say that I have a soft spot in my heart for home teams. So if they ever do together, I would be glad to get back on that wagon. But that one has been off the tracks for 60 years. So I don't blame you. But that's just because you went 3 on your text. So I know you're from here, not because of a rivalry. It's because I'm mad, and I don't blame you. The right to be mad. And I'm with you.
I'm cautiously optimistic a little bit on there. I do think Brad Holmes is probably the best general manager the Lions have ever had. Ain't saying much.
No.
Because we've been just down there.
And I could probably get every code in the country right now for the Pats. So you guys can stop with the page. You can't root for the Pats anymore. I get it. I get it. They're cheaters and flattened footballs and... cell phones and blah, blah, blah.
Here's a team I'll never root for.
I've gotten a ton of those.
Guess I won't ever root for. Yankees. Ever.
I can't either.
I didn't like them back in the 70s. I couldn't stand them. I hated Reggie Jackson. The only one player I liked back then was Thurman Munson. And, of course, he's playing. I didn't like Reggie. I didn't like Goose Gossage. I did love Martin. I hated their fucking guts.
Yeah.
And then Steinbetter, fuck him.
Yeah.
Rotten hell, you rat bastard.
That's too funny. So yeah, it's to root for him. I mean, I get it. whatever reasons,
Any of the team LeBron plays for it? No, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not rooting for him.
Against them.
That's when a player it trends down to the entire team because the player's that bad as far as that goes. But anyway, I think I don't know. I think Steph. We gotta get back. Where the hell were we? We were talking MVP potential and all that stuff. Yeah. So I think Steph win this game. Steph plays well. It's Steph Curry.
But Boston to win it needs Tatum to take over again.
He does, and I wish I would get to see from him where he could do it over and over again. You know what? I kind of
look a ladder.
Yes,
Just happen to be by the rings.
Just imagine that. The ladders everywhere. I do believe it is a ladder match. So, but I do find it funny. Oh, maybe it's a tables match too, because I see a lot of tables laying around standing for no reason. So, but your phone is.
It's just what I might.
Oh, on your lappy. But yeah, this is a ladder match. I think. This is a.
Holy crap, man! It's like I was still 3-1, and next thing you know, it's 3-3. Tampa Bay scored 2 goals in a minute.
That's why I like Tampa. They're amazing like that. Like that team won't go down. They just won't. Like the Rocky Balboa of Shell this year. I mean, it's taking everybody's best shot. You think they're down. You think they're done. If they die, they die. But the motherfuckers stand up. Damn. Throwing them haymakers.
They scored 2 goals within roughly 30 seconds.
That's insane.
21 seconds in the second period. Audrey Pallet scored. And then with 13:39 in the second period, Mikhail Sechkinov scored his honor. So it's tied up 3-3.
Insane. See out of our NBA. We started to get that in some of the early rounds in early series, but not so much.
Again, that's why we said this team is the team that just won't die. When you think, they're toast, they're done. This puts them in rarefied air winning if they win 3 in a row.
Yeah, and especially the way they.
This one was a tough. If they win this one was like crap. This was a tough one. Of course, yes, they blew the on it, but yeah, I mean, this is one of those ones you go. I mean, Florida, which was the top team, the presidential, gets wiped out in 4 to get straight against them. But
we know how that works. That happens a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't want to win the president's trophy.
I'm telling you. That's like a curse.
Wings did it all a couple times under, and then when we didn't, we finished second in the Central that one year, 97 and 98. We didn't have it under. 2002 was we had a freaking Hall of Fame center the entire team.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was a hell of a team there. But I just and that's the thing with like I said with the NHL, man, they just something about that the playoffs, man, it elevates. You just never know who's gonna win, and Tampa is like just the embodiment of all of that stuff because they're just not supposed to win these games. They're not supposed to keep doing stuff. And I get it. People get wore out or they get fatigued for one team winning and winning. But, I mean, to get 3 in a row, like I don't know. The chances that this thing goes that they they continue this run and go on another run next year is just not likely. So your fatigue, you'll be happy. Eventually they'll get bumped off. But if they win this year, I mean, I don't know how you can not enjoy some of this stuff. I don't know, Moose. We're all about content, right?
Yeah.
Whatever's entertaining, whatever makes a story, whatever's cool, and I'm always down for history and things like that. So I don't know. Let's do some history stuff. And I'd like to see Tampa win this thing.
Yeah, winning 2 in a row you've seen it happen, but 3 in a row doesn't happen because again, it's the war of attrition under. It's like playing another quarter of the season.
Oh, yeah.
And if you could do that 4 times like the Islanders and Montreal, essentially you played another season in 4 seasons.
And you just don't see it because of the modern day athlete and what goes on,
Right.
to get into the shape and to play these games. And it's hard to do that. And especially in a league talk about where the parity is so very playoffs, you could probably make an argument. You know how everybody bitches about like the tournament or teams don't get in or whatever, and now the NBA's play-in games to kind of get other teams involved potentially. It's like the NBA doesn't need to do that, but maybe the NHL does, because there is when 8s beat 1s and stuff like that, makes me wonder if other teams aren't better than the
record says that.
You know what I'm saying? Because when you see stuff like that,
it makes you think on it, but I love the way it is. It's
I
like,
do too. I'm not. This is all
top
hyperbole.
8 in each conference get
Yeah,
in, and that's
sure.
it. And basically,
This is all-
how they fall, they fall.
Absolutely,
But that's what I love
agree.
about the NBA. I mean, the NHL is a seed can beat the 1 seed in the first round.
That's what makes it
and
so
it does
good.
happen
Yeah.
on a regular basis. It's
Well-
not one of those. Oh, it happens once every 8 years. No, it
Sure.
happens every
fairly
other year.
regular.
Almost,
Yeah,
it seems like.
fairly regular. So it's one of those things where you. I think it's perfect. I don't want to change it. That was all kind of goofing and talking about it, because like the NBA has to do gimmicky things to get you to watch these early playoff rounds. And
Because it never happens in the NBA.
Yeah, right. And so you got to have so they do all these like weird things, but in the NHL, shoot, yeah.
Or even in college basketball, again, a 1 seed has lost in the
tournament,
on the tournament.
sure.
But there's a handful of 2s have lost, 3s have lost on a regular basis in the first round.
Sure.
4 and 5 lose all the time in the first round.
Yeah, well, we've always talked about
You always take the 5 versus take the 12 versus the 5.
Yeah.
You know what? Take the 13 versus the 14. Get 4, because there's going to be a good chance one of those are going to lose.
Yep.
You just got to pick the right one, and you look genius like.
All right. Well, that's the trick to the whole thing there.
Yes. So yeah, we got the U.S. Open coming up this weekend.
So now we got some cats that are going to be on the live thing, right? The live
There's a couple on there, but there are the U.S.
live
Open,
tournament.
The guys that signed with us can play in the U.S. Open because it's not a PGA, it's the USGA,
Right.
and they open up, and lo and behold, they uppers by $5 million.
Oh wow!
So, but yeah, there's not.
How do you think the fan base deals with those that are on the live? Do you think that some groans out there?
You'll get some groans out there. I mean, for
because
players.
golf's not going to like.
There'll be some groans out there because of DeChambeau is basically either you love him or hate him. I know he's not the most well-loved player in golf and that. I mean, among golfers, especially PGA guys, they think he's a tool.
Right.
Especially Brooks Koepka. He's a tool.
Oh yeah, didn't he go off on a rant or something with the media
He was
over
just
that?
on there, remember? And DeChambeau's the only one still wearing hard cleats, and he's walking across the gravel or the sun, and then all of a sudden there was Koepka just kind of went. Right at the camera, he's talking, and he just stops a second because he can't, so he can basically his under. He just kind of went like, "Yes, we know DeChambeau's a tool. He hits the ball a ton, but he's a tool." So yeah, I think it's gonna be somewhat interesting on there. You know what? I think especially some of these guys on the live, I would love to see if they didn't even make the cut.
Right.
Because again, especially Mickelson,
Yeah.
he's totally become a total.
Well, the live tournament's a fucking joke.
It is a joke.
You're talking. I heard someone talking about doing what's better for golf. You think that's what's better for golf?
No.
Like subpar competition in some crazy like places that nobody gives a rat's ass about. Like not playing like these historic, golf courses. You're not playing the top of the world like in competition. Like it's basically a janky ass exhibition. I mean, to a viewer, to a
54 holes.
fan.
That's it. It's not a marathon 72 hole session.
And then you get to that crazy format.
Shotgun start. Team format. Like whatever.
I don't know. Do people give a shit about that? Do people want to see that? Like,
I think fans don't want. I mean, I think the purists on there probably don't want to care about it on there. They want to see the PGA guy. They want to see the best players play each other. And again, a 72. It's a 4-round session. It's a marathon session. It's basically there is a war of attrition on it. Especially again, you look at what Tiger says. I can't play 72 holes in 4 days on a regular basis. I can't do it. I'll do the majors, and that's pretty much it. And he even said, he pulled out. He's not playing in the U.S. Open this year because he goes, my body is still not up to par.
Yeah, well, you could see it when he tries to walk the course. It's pretty. It
might be as McIlroy or Justin Thompson should be your favorites to win the U.S. Open.
Yeah. I say, they need to, whatever they do with all this stuff, they kind of have to make a hard stance on this. I think it's okay to have multiple, leagues, so to speak. I think you can thrive like that. I don't think it's the best model, but I think we've seen it.
Now, I don't begrudge the golfers short-term wise because they're getting ton of money,
right?
You're guaranteed on it, but what is that going to do to your long-term?
Well, to me, this is the whole thing. It's not. How are you golf?
You're not.
That's the thing. If you're doing something that grows golf, so you go somewhere where isn't golf and you get young people involved and whatever the case may be, whatever. But you do things that help grow and better golf. Where do they do that?
What you're going to need to do is get
how does this do that way, shape, or form?
I mean, it's not like area regions and that. I mean, especially on it. And again, it is a rich man's sport, especially professionally wise, because these kids were born on it, except for on it. But you're going to need a player on Tiger who basically expanded beyond just golf.
Right.
He was basically a phenomenon, a global phenomenon, and he introduced it to whole different demographics. I mean, he did basically working at getting kids in there and play golf and that. So you got to get minorities to get into it and get with it, and it basically grows the fan base. It grows upon there.
Right.
It gets more people playing in it. I like playing golf in that. Again, I'll go out and play golf just because I enjoy just the walk and hit. Am I any good? No, I'm a hack. But I enjoy it. I admit that. I'm a hack. And again, if you go, crap, I'm going to give this game up, and then you hit one shot, and you go, damn it, I'm back. It's yeah. With it.
I go to Top Golf, and I look like an idiot. And that's about the extent of my golf.
Right.
That's it. That's what I do. I go to Top Golf, I get some beverages, and I crack golf balls with the most wicked slice you've ever seen in the history of slices, and I just laugh, and then I go away, and that's about the extent of my golf, and that'll be once a year maybe. So, yep, there you go for the golf. I'm not, but it's a crazy, weird situation, and we've talked about it before, especially with the Saudis, stuff like that. These are cats you don't want to F with, and to me, you don't want to get in bed with them, man. We talked about it last week, right?
No.
the whole mafia type feel and the whole that whole thing. Just you should take that whole philosophy because it's just it's not good. You're not doing business with them. You're putting yourself at risk, doing anything. I don't know how anybody's getting to anything with a ladder that short.
No.
That ladder is 5 feet too short. So, yeah, get that stupid ladder out of the way. Grab the tall one. My face is busted open. I'm bleeding. And the guy that was supposed to win the titles decided to go out and drive drunk, and now we got to win them. And it's stupid. And nobody's happy for that.
Except for that goober.
Yeah, there's 6 people that are yay, the Bucks win. They own the company. It's stupid. They're just gonna put the belts on themselves all the time. It's dumb. Whatever.
So,
they're the EVPs or whatever, but it's a stupid. Anyway,
end of 2 periods 3-3.
Crazy times. So bodies hit the floor. There's bodies everywhere. Looks like we might have some legit injuries. We'll find out. I'm sure. Looks like you guys are all busted up. That ain't ballet. That there is pro wrestling. All right, guys. The finale next week.
Yes.
All the debauchery.
We'll have a new NBA champion. We'll see
Yeah.
how the NHL champ on here. We'll have a new US Open champion. So
We'll be goofs.
and then the Tigers still won't hit a home run.
No. They still won't hit a run. What are we talking about? Jesus, they can't hit nothing.
Somebody says the Al Avila is basically Matt Millen 2.0. He's
I'll
learned
go with
longer
that.
than Matt Millen did as general manager. So.
Yeah, that's the sad thing. But hey, his daddy took a long time to build his team and finally get things rolling for that team that didn't even win a championship. I mean, but Mike Ilitch, he did it. Just took him a minute. So maybe same with the kid. Maybe just take him a minute. You get rid of Vila next year. I don't know.
Get rid of him now.
Whatever. We'll see you next week. We'll be on full tilt. It'll be crazy. Come hang out with us. It's the finale. We love you guys.
Peace out,
Be
brothers.
good. Peace.
You're listening to Steel 57 Radio, your home for underground hip hop, rap, and R&B. Studio 57 Radio.